Hi everyone, it's Ali here with more songwriting tips for you. I thought today we'd look at my top tips for how to never lose your song ideas again. I don't know about you, but in the past I've had occasions where I'd come up with melody ideas or lyric ideas as I was going throughout the day, and then I didn't have any way of writing them down, or I was too busy doing something else, and so when it came to actually writing a song later on, I'd completely forgotten that idea that I was sure would have been a really good one. So coming up, my top tips to help you never lose your song ideas again. So first off, you need to be paying attention to the ideas that you've got coming as you go throughout your day. The different melody ideas, lyric ideas, song topics, all these kind of things. You actually need to pay attention to them and not just ignore them. They are important. If you keep notating them down, you will gradually get more and more of them too. And they can be a huge resource when you're trying to write your songs. It's quite hard often just to come up with all these ideas on the spot when you sit down to actually write a song. So having this kind of database and notebook of ideas can really help for you to draw on when you actually come to write your songs. If you don't feel you get many ideas, I promise as you start notating them down or recording them, you'll start to get more of them. It's a bit strange how that works, but often the more ideas you write down, the more you end up getting. So I'd encourage you to start writing them down. Make sure you don't critique them before you've written them down. It's really important that you just get them down on paper or whichever way you're going to record them, which we'll talk about in a sec. But you need to make sure you just get them down. Don't think, oh, that idea is rubbish, I'm not going to bother writing that one down. Quite often we think our ideas are rubbish on the spot, and so we wouldn't bother to write them down. But actually when we come back to them, when we actually do come to write a song, they can be really good ideas that previously we might not have been bothered about. But on a second listen we think, actually these are pretty good ideas, so I might use one of these. Or we might combine them with another idea that we had earlier or at a different time, and we can bring those together to actually create a new idea. Make sure you don't fall into the trap of thinking, oh, surely if that idea is good, I'll just remember it anyway. I know that might seem logical that if a melody idea, for instance, is good, that it'll stick in your head and you'll remember it later on, but you won't, I promise. Particularly if you've got a lot of these ideas going through your head, that one idea, you're not going to remember it. You're going to end up thinking of a different idea in a few minutes' time, and that idea will completely go. Or you'll listen to some other song as you're going throughout your day that's perhaps you've listened to a lot more, and it will just completely wipe out that other idea you had previously. So make sure you write them down and record them in some way. They're really important, and otherwise you're going to forget them. So what should you write down? I think anything that will help you in the songwriting process when you actually sit down to write a song is worth jotting down or recording in some way. So these could be song titles, song themes, lyric ideas, either just individual words or perhaps whole phrases, any metaphors you come up with, melodies. It could be chord sequences you come up with as you're playing your instruments earlier during the day. Might be riff ideas or just sequences of chords that you want to try melodies out on later. All of these things are really good to jot down. You never know when there might be that spark of a new song. So where should you actually record your ideas? Should you do it in a digital format or perhaps a hard copy in a notepad or a journal, something like that? To be honest, I think that's up to you. It depends how you kind of process your ideas, whether digital might be your preference, maybe that's how you normally jot down all your ideas for other things, or whether you like to use journals and notepads a lot anyway, in which case that may be your preferred format. However, I think there are some pros and cons to each and some advantages to digital over hard copy. So I'll go through them now so you can see the advantages and disadvantages of each and what might be your preferred method. So whatever format you choose to go with, you're going to want to make sure you've always got it on you so that whenever you come up with an idea, you've got that device there to write it down. Whether that's your phone and you use an app or the Notes app within your phone that comes with it, you have that there all the time to write it down. It's one of the advantages of digital. Most of the times you're going to have your phone with you these days, and it's going to be there with you on you all the time. Whereas you might forget to bring your journal. However, if you're kind of prone to carrying a bag around with you, or you've got a journal that's small enough to fit in your pocket, that might be fine too. Just remember to make sure you've always got it with you. The advantage of digital is that it can be backed up. You don't have to worry about losing anything as long as you remember to either back it up to the internet, which often with apps these days happens automatically as long as you've got an internet connection, or you can plug it into your computer at night and it will back up that way. And that way, if you lose your phone or you erase it somehow by mistake, you're always going to have that data stored and you're not ever going to lose it. You really don't want to go losing them. I know people that have lost them and it hurts. You don't want to be one of those people. That's why journaling can have a bit of a disadvantage. Generally, people are going to look after it really well if they've got a journal that they've been storing ideas in. But you can always, particularly if you're quite a forgetful person, you lose a lot of stuff, you can often leave them in places or just misplace them, or they can get ruined if sometimes they get like soaking wet, perhaps on the day when it chucks it down with rain or whatever, and you can end up losing a lot of that information that you've been storing up for a good year or longer, and you really don't want that to happen. It's really not very good. You just don't want that. You don't go there. The other advantage of digital is that you're not really going to run out of space. You can often upload as much as you want if they're cloud-based solutions. I'll talk about the apps in a sec that I use that have unlimited space, so you're never going to run out of space for your ideas. With journals, you might run out of space, and then you're going to have multiple journals, which might get a bit of a faff, having to remember which journal had which idea in it, and searching through to find that idea that you wrote years ago. Whereas with digital, you can often just search through using a search function. It'll quite quickly bring up the idea that you wanted. Journals, you're going to have multiple books eventually with tons of different ideas in you. And even if you've got contents nicely laid out, it still might be a bit of a faff to find that specific idea that you recorded years ago. With digital, you can get apps as well that allow you to store the lyrics and the audio recording in the same place, so you don't have to keep switching between the two. Whereas if you've got a journal or an app that only allows you to have the lyrics in one place, you're then going to have one app for the lyrics and one app for the recording, or you're going to have a journal with the lyric ideas, and then you're going to have to store all the song ideas on your phone anyway, or on your computer somewhere. So in some ways you might as well just record it all on one place and then have it all accessible at the same time. The disadvantage of digital is that it's not very easy to draw. If you're someone that likes to process your ideas and your thoughts by drawing a lot, if you're quite an arty person, you like to get inspiration that way, perhaps you like to just draw and then later you get lyrics based on the drawings you've done, you might find that digital doesn't really work very well for that. You can do it on tablets and stuff. I know people that do it, but it's not perhaps the best way, and I think a lot of people who process their thoughts that kind of way prefer to use a journal for that kind of thing. Having said all that, the best system for you to use to jot down your ideas is whichever one you're actually going to use. So if you prefer journals and you like journals, you use them for other stuff anyway, then just use a journal. It will be the one you actually use, and therefore the one that's actually most helpful to you. And if you use digital and you prefer digital and all its advantages, then use that. But whichever one you're actually going to use is the one you want to go with. In terms of what apps to use, it'll depend largely on what device you're using. The iPhone comes with some great free options. The voice memo app, which is great for recording any melody ideas you might have, any chord sequence ideas. The Notes app, which is really great for recording any lyrical ideas and any song hooks, song topics, that kind of thing. I personally use Evernote. It's my favourite app by miles. I've been using it for years now. It's where I record all my ideas, not just my songwriting ideas. I don't use a word processor anymore. I just use Evernote. It's accessible from any device and it syncs between them all, and it's always backed up. So I have to worry about losing anything, and it doesn't matter whether I'm on my laptop, on my desktop, or whether I'm out about on my phone. I can always get to my ideas and continue working on them if I want to. It's completely free. You have to sign up for an account, but it doesn't cost anything. There are paid versions, but you don't need them. I just have the free account, and I've been using that for years and haven't had any problems. I've put a link in the description below, so if you want to check that out, just click that link and it'll take you through to sign up for an account. If you prefer to use a journal, I'd recommend getting a really high quality one. You don't want it falling apart after only a few months of use and pages starting to come out, things like that. You're going to lose stuff that way. Make sure you get one with really high quality paper that's going to be really nice to write in. Don't get one that's too small either, you'll find it really hard, you'll be cramming stuff in. Make sure you get one of a decent size and that's going to last for quite a while. You're going to be writing in it often, so you want to make sure it's nice to write in and you're going to enjoy writing in it. So I hope this video makes sure you never lose any songwriting ideas in the future, and you've got a system to help you record those ideas as you come up with them as you go throughout your day, and then you'll be able to use them whenever you come to actually write a song. Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't done already, please like and subscribe below, and I'll see you in the next video.